All right, what's up, y'all? Today's the 13th of October, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. In the Image Clothing Company. I'm the founder. This is the thing. This video is a video I've been trying to make for weeks. A topic, a discussion, a thing, something to put importance on that I've been talking about since basically the founding of In the Image Clothing Company, which was over a year ago as of today's date. The 13th of October, 2025. Now this video, it will be big. I've tried to make this video multiple times. And each time I've gone to make it, I came across what you could call warfare, right? Stuff comes up in my way and stuff is like, hey, no, not yet. Don't do it. Nope. Either it's just that I was having a hard time doing it because of how big it is. And it's not only either, but it's partially that. And partially, I personally wasn't ready to make it quite yet. God wasn't ready for me to make it quite yet, okay? I've got a measuring tape here. Okay. I'm going to actually show this in a way where I wouldn't have done this the other times I was trying to film this. Like I'm saying, I wasn't quite ready for it. We're going to literally show this measurement-wise, and I'll talk to you about what I mean, why this is so huge, why this is a video I've been trying to make since, well, months ago, but then, very specifically trying to do it the past few weeks. The importance of even ear cartilage. It might just be titled The Importance of Even Ears, and even that itself, I've been trying to put the word cartilage in there. It just doesn't feel like it works correct. In the Image Clothing Company, let's give a little context, then we'll do it as we do. I'll talk about each of the four sides of In the Image Clothing Company, four distinct sides, but all as one. Like one God, right? Three distinct beings, but one God, Jesus Christ. We're designed in the image of Jesus Christ, and we're all the same, right? When I talk about where clothing sits, which I'll do after I talk about each of the four sides of In the Image Clothing Company, I make it clear that everybody's the exact same. Our skeletal structure is what we do. The body's about its skeletal system, okay? Allowing the body to work is our key slogan. We'll get into it. You'll understand. This will be a big video, but I'm going to physically measure my ears, okay? And I'll do it right here, actually. Look at this. From the very top of my ear here, and context will come, by the way. This will be a big video. From the top of the ear down to the bottom of the ear, it's about 2¼ inches. Okay, right about 2¼ inches on my left ear here, okay? And it's just right about the exact same 2¼ inches on my right ear here, okay? And now, yeah, I'm gonna show why I actually showed this through this little measuring tape and why this video has been such a long time coming. Okay, as I've said, and we'll do it, I'll get into the intro, and then we'll discuss this deeply. I need to say some stuff before I even do any of that. First off, be careful with your body. If you're not a doctor, if you're not an anatomy expert, be careful with your body when you're doing anything adjustment-wise. But at the same time, we do massages to our own bodies. We buy these little massage things that, we call them little massage guns, and they just vibrate across our bodies. We can massage our own bodies. It's your own body. It's the only thing you have. An episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. The title is The Only Thing That We Have. It's our human bodies. Everything else can come and go. We have complete reign, if you will. Complete, if you would try to use the word control, but we're not actually in charge of anything here on this earth. But we have authority over our own bodies. You can massage your body, you can adjust your body, and we talk about getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue under In the Image Clothing Company's main side when we allow the human body to work. We talk about the anatomy of the human body in depth. We wear oversized clothing. We wear clothing with imbalances in it. We introduce ropes to the body, shoelaces and drawstrings, potentially one side of the rope over the other in a knot, just rotating the entire body. We have a lot that we do that alters our bodies as human beings in a modern man-made 2025 and going forth, okay? The man-made world placed onto God's natural earth, as I say. We live in a right-handed world, okay? 85%, give or take, of the population of human beings are right-handed. Products designed to be used with just one hand usage are almost always designed for the right hand. over both hand usage, okay? So we get into these patternings, this right-handed patterning, where there are rotations to the body, internal and external rotation from the neutral, natural, normal, synonyms within the human body's functioning and how we discuss it under In the Image Clothing Company. Our bodies in a right-handed patterning, in this right-handed world, get farther dropped on the right side, rotated more externally away from the body, and then yes, pulled away from the body's center line, okay? This can happen from uneven shoe tying down at our very foundation at our feet, tying the same knots on both feet, twisting the right side of the body in right-handed knots on both feet away from the body's center line, okay? Drawstrings, like I'm saying, just ropes. They twist the whole hip structure or the pelvis and then the whole entire body from there out. So there's a lot that happens in clothing. Just oversized clothing will fall to our dominant side just with gravity, okay? Because the human body has a center line. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw. The jaw naturally stabilizes the entire body, not just our head on top of our body, but the musculature stems here at the lower jawbone, comes up between the eyes and the ears, and comes into the crown of the head, clear up here, okay? And stabilizes our entire body. So we get into these right-handed patternings. Eating and drinking with the left hand is a video we have under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. And when I say left hand, I really just mean non-dominant hand, because our teeth will just wear down over time. And our bodies won't stay vertical, centered, even when our teeth wear to one side if we're always just eating with one hand. And then our jaw, which needs to stay in the center of the body because it stabilizes the entire body. And the body as a whole needs to stay vertical, centered over Earth's center of gravity, because Earth's gravity pulls down on everything from a center line. So all that needs to mesh. The centered position to the body, the center of gravity, musculature in the body connecting from the shoulder to the sternum in the center, in the front, on both sides, and from the shoulder to the spine in the rear on both sides, okay? The legs have feet that grip arches inward and keep us vertical on Earth's gravity, opposing the center line. Our legs have adductor muscles that come up from the inside of the legs into the center of the hips, okay? The body has a center line, and the body has things on two sides of it. Our Earth has wind where it does. We do these things in the Image Clothing Company style, blunt, bold, raw, and real, and that includes wind noise and surrounding sounds where it does. As if I'm just standing here speaking information to you. This is how we are as In the Image Clothing Company. Okay, we're not trying to be anything else besides who we are here. Authenticity is the goal, right? The goal is natural under all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. So this is the big thing, okay? Those things are now there. The context that you have on the body's center line and the fact that our ears need to be even. The importance of even ears. We've got a lot of videos talking about the importance of even. Sternocleidomastoid insertions. These things right behind the ears here, meaning these insertions to the musculature that comes down from the rear of our skull here, right behind the ears where they insert, down, barely clearing the rear of our lower jaw bone. Okay. And then they connect to our sternum, this bone in the center of the front of the rib cage, and the collarbone, okay, which is this bone here, connecting from the sternum up to the peak of the shoulder, okay? So, sternocleidomastoid, okay? Sternum, clavicle, which is the collarbone, and then mastoid, this part of the head up here behind the ear, this muscle. I've made videos talking about, the jaw and the sternocleidomastoid. That's a video we've made under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. There's a lot of videos talking about a lot of things. Let's talk about this. Okay, so the intro. Each of the 4 sides of In the Image Clothing Company. Now you have some context. I'm gonna make this video as it is, meaning I know that this is not a small video. It's gonna be huge, okay? We'll get into it. Allowing the human body to work. Allowing the body to work. That's what we do under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. We have hundreds of videos as of today's date talking about the anatomy of the human body in depth, allowing it to work. And how do we do that? We do it through clothing. Clothing is the only thing physically placed onto us. So clothing, that's what I mean. This stuff doesn't happen in a lot of other videos. The magnitude of this video is huge, and because of that, I have to fight through so much to make it happen. This is how it's been each of the times that I've tried to film this up until this time, okay? Clothing has to stay centered, fit correct, where I'll discuss when I talk about where clothing sits here in a minute, and be made from 100% natural materials, because the human body is only natural. The human body has a center line. The human body has musculature that only connects in one location, okay? So those things have to be there. Staying centered, fitting correct, being made from 100% natural materials. The goal is natural under In the Image Clothing Company and all that we do, because we can only eat natural, sleep natural, stand and walk and eat, I said it twice, but breathe, okay, do everything we do. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. Not only is there a center line, but there's a neutral position to every joint. Every joint in the body has a neutral position. I'm not kidding, this noise is not normally this loud unless I'm trying to make a video that is this impactful. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. That's what I'm saying. Gotta do this. Okay, I'm in this for life. These are the founding informational videos as of like around this time period. That's what I'm doing, okay? So yeah, we talk about eating, standing, walking, sitting, breathing, hydration, sleeping, everything we do as a human being, and just doing it naturally, okay? And yeah, clothing's placed on us. If there's imbalances in clothing, if clothing's oversized, if we do introduce ropes to the body, we really get into chronic patterning and scar tissue, because we're just altering the only way that our human bodies could ever work, by placing something physically on them when they're just a physical mechanical machine placed onto Earth and its center of gravity, right? Universal laws that we didn't decide and we have to abide by. So yeah, a lot happens, and we really just show how to allow the body to work in all the ways that we do. We give a lot of free modifications in clothing. We will always have good clothing under InTheImageClothingCompany.com to do those things, stay centered, fit correct, be made from 100% natural materials, and allow the body to work. But you never have to purchase any products from us at all to allow your body to work. We just give information, discussions for free, right? I mean, our bodies would work unless altered, okay? So, and we can reverse these things. That's what I'm saying with massaging our bodies and breaking up this chronic patterning and scar tissue in the ways that we show from the right-handed world's patterning, from clothing imbalances that are universally shipped across the earth in modern 2025 and going forth in ways they weren't in the past, right? We discuss things, and you can just do adjustments to your own body, but just be careful, okay? Don't force your body. Don't push it to do things in any way ever that it won't do. And do things a little bit at a time as well, right? So the big thing is there's a lot of things in modern day that just didn't exist in the past. Stretch in clothing. It comes with these unnatural materials that are just new. These materials literally didn't even exist just decades before today's date, and then ever before then. There's a lot of materials clothing is made out of, and it's just damaging the body. It's seeping into our pores, okay, through the little holes in our skin, like you would put a cream on top of your skin. You call it a topical cream, and then it soaks into your body to heal it from the inside out. Things can damage the body from the inside out placed on them as well, and that's these materials in clothing. And they often bring stretch with them also. Stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way that muscles could ever work. Musculature in the body only contracts, meaning getting shorter, okay? The bicep here contracts to close the elbow joint. On the other side, there's an opposing muscle, the tricep, and there's 3 triceps, right? 3 heads to the musculature of the rear of the upper arm. They contract to extend the arm. Muscles only shorten. Stretch goes the opposite direction, okay? Stretching the body is damaging. There's only a neutral. If we have a neutral, we can't stretch in one direction or we're opposing the other direction. And we can't stretch in the other direction or we're opposing that first direction we mentioned. There's just a neutral to everything. And the body, if it just is allowed to remain in that, as if it was just never altered by anything placed on it or any unnatural positioning of our modern man-made world, and if we were just natural as we'd be just on God's earth as we were for thousands of years until the world got to the degree of unnatural that it is today and just progressively getting more so like that, our bodies would just work, okay? So, yeah, man, that's a lot of what we do on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, okay? We've got another fourth of us, In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, and what we do is specialize in purebred standard poodles. We breed them, registering them properly, and advocating for being a lot of good things with dogs. Keeping less dogs in shelters and more dogs at home. At homes, wherever they live, keep them there, not in shelters, okay? Good ownership of dogs we advocate for, and how to do that with a lot of free information. We do so much under the gift of video, under all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company. We talk about proper breeding, so we have planned litters, purebred dogs, and why that's important for health reasons, right? When I say a mutt is a mutt, I'm not trying to be mean to your dog that is a mixed breed, but there's a lot of health complications that come with mixed breeds that couldn't possibly come otherwise from purebred dogs, okay? And so we do a lot letting dogs stay natural. Same thing as allowing the body to work for human beings, just phrased differently because it's an entire unique fourth of our company. In the mountains here in the state of Utah, and at parks, at river areas, wherever we do it, in water, just in natural places, we'll do a lot of poodle parade events. That's what we call them. Under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, bring your purebred poodles of any size or poodle mixes of any size. Hey, there's those mutts, right? Yeah, they can come, but we give a lot of information on how to keep dogs healthy and purebred dogs. I mean, even just in the title, in the phrasing and the title of it, purebred dogs, right? But we'll do poodle parade events. They'll be a lot of the time just for fun, like family reunions, hangouts, just having a good time. Like a hike maybe, probably a pretty mild hike though, hanging out, just, whatever we do, just having a good time with the dogs and us. I'll give information where I do on letting dogs stay natural. We'll do things for the environment as well in times. Through poodle parade events is what I mean. Clean the Creek specific poodle parade events where we actually clean up trash from like rivers, waterways, right? A lot of cool stuff that we do. We talk about collars, leashes, harnesses, and these things placed onto dogs. Well, human being clothing, we have to keep our collars centered as well, because the musculature that goes up through the neck of our bodies, right, that goes through our collars, that needs to stay in the center because it connects on both sides of the body, has to evenly, because there's a center line to the body and a center line to Earth's gravity, okay? So there you go. A lot of what we do is those things for dogs, and our information applies to all dogs. We talk about feeding dogs, hydration for dogs, just keeping dogs unaltered in our modern man-made world, being placed on slippery flat flooring and damaging their joints because of it. There's a lot that we talk about, okay? And then products, collars, leashes, harnesses, similar things, whatever else we get into as time progresses, just to not alter the dogs, okay? Same intent behind human being clothing. So that's a lot of what we do, and we will do so much through poodles. It'll be actually pretty ridiculous how big, and always a huge name in poodles. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles will always be, okay? So stick around for that. Now we have another fourth of us in the Image Clothing Company podcast. We have deep discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. We're all human beings placed on the same earth, designed by one God. We discuss him as he says that he is, although never perfectly, because we're imperfect and he's perfect. Okay, but a lot of beautiful insights on life get had there. We do it in the Image Clothing Company style. Raw, real, blunt, and bold. Blunt and bold, man. So, 166 episodes is what we're on as of the last one that we filmed of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Check that out if you'd like to. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to believe in anything, right? Things are just what they are regardless of our beliefs. And that's one of the things we talk about super often, man. Really, I said it like that because very, very often under In the Image Clothing Company podcast, okay? So, In the Image Clothing Company music, another one of our fourths is In the Image Clothing Company music. A lot of what I do is show the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter our hands, right? I talk about the neutral position in every joint of the body, and it has to remain. The wrist is huge. The hand is essentially the shoulder. And when we play guitar, we can't be altering our hands' natural workings, okay? So I show a lot of that, you know, like nails, keeping them fully to the tips of our fingers, supporting them, cut ideally relatively flat on the tips. You can round the corners, same with the toenails. We need to support our body, and the flat tips then allow our body to stay in its neutral position rather than rolling out of its neutral position in the joint of the wrist, you know, from the fingernails. I make a lot of music though. Place it on In the Image Clothing Company music. Things like Metronome Madness. We're on episode 31 of that, as of the last one I did. I do a lot of stuff you could call rap, right? Rhythm and poetry off the top, meaning just freestyled lyricism, right? Spoken word type stuff. And a lot of music through guitar, singing, cool things, right? Check it out if you'd like. The messages are always geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ, just giving good, like I say, good insights on life. I mean, it's just the truth of all things. We live in a world, and it's crazy, and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody understands that their ears need to be even, and why they wouldn't be, right? This is what we do under In the Image Clothing Company, is try all that we can do, being imperfect, to just align everything we talk about with truth. There's only truth, regardless of anyone's beliefs or opinions or anything. Things are just what they are, even when that's hard to accept or admit. And we get into that, right? We talk about it deeply. Stick around, man. Check out what we've got. So, let's talk about this. Where clothing sits, okay? If you are a man or a woman, tall or short, skinny or fat, any age or from any part of the earth, any time period to ever be, you're just a human being, and your clothing needs to sit in the same location, okay? Pants need to be entirely above the hips, at what's called our natural waist. Above our hip bones entirely, but below our lowest ribs. That's where we bend side to side. At our spine, that's our natural waist, okay? You can't bend side to side at the hips, so if your pants are on your hips, well, your body's damaged, right? The hips are just connected to the ground with the legs. They can't move unless our feet come off the ground, but our spine has a lot of motion side to side. And that's just where our bodies would naturally work if there was no clothing placed on them, so we keep our pants at our natural waist, right? Even just the phrasing, natural. Like we say, that's the goal under In the Image Clothing Company. The goal is natural. Now, the waistline angle of our pants needs to be slightly higher in the front than the rear to keep our musculature working, activated, contracted, neutral, vertical on Earth's gravity. That's how we need our pants to be, okay? Above the hips at our natural waist and slightly higher in the front than the rear. We have tops that we wear as well. The tops that we wear have seams on top of our shoulders that need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders, okay? Our shoulders just only ever work behind our head. That's just where they connect with the musculature, and our shoulders follow shoulder seams. Button-ups have a band of material that just sits behind the shoulders, but single seams need to sit behind the shoulders evenly, and that often doesn't happen if we don't know it needs to, and if we're not intentional, and if there's imbalances in our clothing. One of our free modifications that we show under In the Image Clothing Company is the dreaded collar seam modification. In the collar of our tops, if there's a little seam only in one location, it'll just change the way the collar sits. Then our collars won't stay centered, our shoulder seams won't sit evenly, our tops will just be falling to one side of our body more than the other, and whatever angle that'll happen, just being uncentered, and then our bodies will be damaged, okay? Chronic patterning and scar tissue. Only one way the human body could ever work, right? So, anyway, clothing. It's the only fix to human beings' physical problems. No claim, because we have a clothing company, but it's just the case. With our tops, seams behind the peak of our shoulders, we need the edge seams of our tops to be as close to the edges of our shoulders as we can get. Okay, it's a joint of fabric and a joint of the shoulder. It needs to just be in the same location, as close as we can get, and then we're not trying to like work around our tops and really damage our bodies, okay? Yeah, I was gonna reference a video, but we'll reference what we do where we do in this, okay? I'm coming at this a lot slower than I've come at a lot of videos up until today's date under In The Image Clothing Company. I can speak very, very fast, and often I do. This video is different, like I'm saying. I don't know exactly why it needs to be this way, but I feel that I need to approach it the way that I am, so this is how I'm doing it, okay? And who knows if that guy's gonna come in here or not. Man, we'll do what we do, okay? Two things we have as prerequisites under In The Image Clothing Company. Firstly, we're just weaving ropes across the top of our feet. We call it shoelaces, okay, but they're just ropes. There's only one way to weave a rope across the top of all the mechanics of the feet. Bones, tendons, muscles, ligaments, all working to grip arches in the feet inward, opposing the center line and keeping us vertical on Earth's gravity. If we alter those feet, we alter the entire body because they are our foundation, and we are only as good as our foundation. So In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, it's just what we call it, it's the only weave of a rope you can do to not alter the mechanics and workings of the feet when it comes to shoelacing, okay? And then we tie shoes as well. Just to keep them on, we have to tie shoes evenly over toward the center line of the body, over toward the inside, if you will, okay? Even knots opposing the center then keeps the body even. I was 24 years old before I started tying my shoes evenly, and my whole body was in a rotation to the tip of my head and the tips of my fingers, and so much chronic patterning has come from that I've had to rid as years have gone by, you know, from starting to tie shoes till I was 24. And then, yeah, the past couple of years I've had to do so much in my body to get it centered, like this, like the ears, right? To keep my ears even, the importance of even ears. So secondly, to shoelacing, our other prerequisite under In The Image Clothing Company is removing all tags from clothing. Anywhere a tag's placed within clothing, it's like stretch as one of those things that's just only decades old as of today's date. Tags within clothing, they either cause a physical gap, changing the body's only working position, and or just not allowing musculature to activate. And then the body's just trying to compensate for that, and it can't. Everything in the body has a role to play. It can all only work activated as a whole, the human body, because we can't drag around dead weight. Everything has a role to play. Okay, that's our intro. I know I said quite a bit before the intro, but then I did the intro extra slow compared to how I have been doing them up until now. I don't know, like I'm saying, this video is huge. The tractor pulling up, the noise. This is my maybe fourth plus time trying to film this. Okay, I actually have a measuring tape in my hand. This is just, it is what it is. I know that it's like slow. I know that, regardless of if anybody else even thinks this is like going slowly or not. And I'm just explaining what I'm explaining. This just will be what it is, okay? Just the reality of this, how huge this is. Okay, let's get into this. The importance of even ears. We live in a modern man-made world. You've heard me say it so many times if you've heard past episodes of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. If you've heard me discuss on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here, the anatomy of the human body and why we're so altered nowadays, more so and in different ways than would have ever been physically possible on this earth in the past. We have things we place in our ears. Okay, we'll start there. Things to lessen noise. That can be beneficial, right? Earplugs, ear muffs, things to silence out sounds when they're loud. That can be great. But anything placed into the ear canal to do that will alter the shape of the ears. Okay, talked about all the surrounding sound that's going on within this video. Our ears have a specific shape to them that they just naturally grow in. Maybe you've got a deformity. Okay, we talk about that throughout the whole body. Maybe you've got an amputation, or you had a birth defect in some place, right? The human body, like I say, there's only one way it could ever work. Well, we're all individual in the ways we are, but there's just the baseline human being structure. And the ears are shaped a certain way. If we place something in the ear canal, we alter it. The ears are made out of cartilage, okay? It's kind of like an in-between type thing. Oh man, the sprinklers on this field over here just turned on. If the sprinklers on this field that I'm on turn on, I'm telling you, it's probably at least the fourth time I've tried to film this video. That's why I'm approaching it the way that I am. It's a huge video. Okay, Man. Cartilage is kind of an in-between thing. It's not a bone, which is hard and doesn't move, right? And it's not skin, which is very soft and can move and very pliable. Cartilage is an in-between type of thing, like the nose, the importance of even nostrils, a video we have under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, okay? Cartilage is in the nose, it's in the ears, it's between our bones, cushioning the joints as the bones are up against the bones. There's this kind of in-between type material, cartilage, between them, okay? The ligaments connecting the bones together and the cartilage cushioning the bones when they're moving against each other, okay? That's why we have to have a neutral in everything in the body. If we're not in our neutral position, then things don't track in line, and then our bodies get into chronic patterning and scar tissue, okay? The cartilage gets worn down and broken up and damaged between the joints, and it can heal, it can, but it needs to be allowed to by being relieved by just being in its neutral, natural, normal, right, position. Synonyms within the human body's functioning: neutral, natural, and normal. There's only one normal size to the ears. There's only one normal shape to our own individual ears, as if they had never been altered by us or the world, right? Just the way they naturally grew on our own specific individual bodies. And now what happens is this natural shape, yeah, natural, neutral, normal, of the ear gets altered if we put something in there, okay? The jaw. We talk about it so often. I talked about it a little bit in the intro to this video, the importance of even ears. The lower jaw bone starts up here right at the top of our ears, and it comes down right in front of our ears. It comes around like this, okay, down past the base of our ears, and it comes to the front of our chin. That is our lower jaw bone, our chin. So this lower jaw bone here, it is the front of the ears, if you will. And then the rear of the ears, if you will, is that sternocleidomastoid insertion. Okay, this muscle coming from the sternum and the collarbone up the neck and connecting right behind the ear to the skull. This guy's driving his tractor through the sprinklers. I don't know what is going on, other than I do, to the degree that that's what I mean, warfare. It is crazy. He's literally driving his aeration machine over the top of the sprinkler heads. This is very weird. He lifted it up that time. Maybe he lifted it up the other times he went over the other ones as well, but this is very strange. The way that I'm approaching this video is very strange for me, okay? I'm just here, man. This is cool. Okay, we have these two bones, the skull, which muscles insert to bones. So the insertion of this sternocleidomastoid muscle right behind the ear, we talk about how the right side gets bulged off to the side of the body in the right-handed patterning when the body's just being pulled away from its center line on the right side of the body. This sternocleidomastoid muscle, okay, will just pull on the skull. If just gravity's pulling us down to our right rather than centered, right? The need to lean left. That's not what it's titled, but that is a need. What it means to lean left is a video we have under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. I talk about it rotation-wise, musculature's activation-wise, positioning through the whole body skeletal system, why it's hard for us to lean left in a right-handed world, okay? Because we live in a right-handed world. Even those left-handed people, you still live in a right-handed world, even if you're using your left hand, right? And you know that for sure, if you're left-handed, because it's inconvenient, okay? So this is the big thing. Bones. The skull, back here, behind the ear, and the jawbone right here in front of the ear. There's a little bee flying. Golly, I'm telling you, this video, bud, whoever, this is what it is, man. It's crazy, okay? I think that it's as real as it gets. That's one of those phrases that I say under In the Image Clothing Company. I also say often it's as obvious as it is once you see it. You'll see what I mean probably with that phrase once I discuss this. The cartilage surrounds the hole to our ear. The whole of our ears just go into what's called our eardrum, okay? Where we receive sound waves, how I can hear this tractor and the surrounding sounds of the cars, how you could hear probably that bee buzzing in the mic, even if you maybe didn't see it in the camera, right? It's just a hole. It allows things, sound waves, literal waves, like actual waves of sound, to go into our eardrum through a hole that's surrounded by this cartilage to kind of protect the whole of our ears, okay? And our eardrums inside, which are very small and sensitive and thin, and they need to be taken care of, okay? So that's just between two bones, the lower jaw and the skull. Anything placed in there will alter this gap of the bone. Look at my lower jawbone move, okay? And then my skull, the skull can't really move except when the neck moves, right? The cervical spine is the spine of the neck, and that can move, okay? And that essentially moves the skull in the way that the lower jawbone can move by itself. Okay, but look at this gap here. When I place my finger right below my ear's hole, my ear canal, okay, right in the gap between my lower jaw bone at the rear of it and the base of my skull, which really is just this sternocleidomastoid muscle, okay? Right here, watch the gap change just as I move my jaw. See this? Okay, I'll do it on the other side. It's just a gap. That's what the ear canal is a gap, a hole. A balanced, ideally, with the body having a centered line, two sides to it, with Earth having gravity with just one centered line that it pulls down on everything with. That's what it is, ideally. Even, balanced, the same size gap, left to right, of our ears, so that our jaw can sit centered, okay? So that our head can be centered in all the ways that it is. And then our jaw can stabilize not only our head, but our entire body from its neutral now position. And our ears are just unaltered, right? The importance of same size ears. Now picture just putting something in your ears, it'll just open up the whole of the ear, it'll move the jawbone, it'll change the curvature of the spine, because like I'm saying, that's how the head, being one side of the whole of the ear, the opposite side from the jawbone, right? That's how the head will move, is if the spine moves. And so all of this will move and alter and change if we change the hole in our ears. So we've got a lot of things that we place in our ears in modern day. I don't need to speak on all the technology that we have, okay? Anything placed on the ears. In the ears, glasses, the temples of the side pieces of the glasses sitting on top of the ears, they'll alter the ears, okay? When we talk about the importance of even nostrils, glasses, okay? They sit on the nose as well with those nose pieces, then they come and sit on the top of the ears. Anything that clothes the human being, meaning placed onto the human being, anything that is placed onto the human body is clothing the human body with something, okay? So clothing, that's what I mean. In the Image Clothing Company, anything that's on the human being, but then we also just talk about our daily lives and just functioning as a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space, okay? We just discuss it as it is. It's not about fashion by any means. It's not even about clothing, other than we have to be intentional about it because it's placed physically on our physical bodies, okay? So there you go. Things placed on or in the ears directly will affect and change the shape, positioning, size of the cartilage, because how could it not? In order for something to stay in your ear, it has to be in there snug enough to kind of like, watch this. See this? Kind of open up and move, change the positioning of the cartilage of the ears, okay? Glasses placed on top of them, things placed inside of them meaning the ears, things placed over the ears, same thing. In all the ways that will alter them, it'll alter them, okay? Now, this is the thing. Like I say, compensation within the body tries to happen. If anything within the body isn't working correct, something else and many things will try to compensate. The ears can be being altered by anything else in the body, period. And so I won't even talk about everything in this. But if the feet are altered, shoelaces, okay, heels on shoes, okay, the importance of zero drop shoes, the term, meaning the same height front to back as if we're just standing flat on the earth. That's a video I made just a couple days ago under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. That can alter the ears. We lift our heels off the ground, our jaw comes forward, just because the body has to accommodate for being altered from its foundation all the way to the tip of the head and the tips of the fingers. Anytime the jaw's positioning moves, the ear moves, okay? And then it's altered. Chronically, meaning it will be always in a improper position, a position that it could never work in because there's only one neutral, natural, normal position for the ears to be in. And same with the feet, they'd be always just flat on the earth if there was no man-made things placed under the heels of them. Shoes that are not the term zero drop, right? Meaning just flat on the bottom, then our jaw will always be in an incorrect position, and our jaw's position determines what the ears do, and vice versa. The ears determine what the jaw will do, positioning-wise, structure and shape and size-wise, discrepancy-wise, okay, left to right, or just difference in size of how they'd naturally be. So anything, okay, pant waistlines in an incorrect position will change the position of our pelvis. What connects into our pelvis? The spine, coming down from the base of our skull, which, what was I saying about the positioning of the head or the sternocleidomastoid insertion? That's altered from the spine, okay? The base of the skull, meaning the very top of our spine, is the same spine as the spine traveling down at our hips, at our pelvis, that's determined by our pant waistline, okay? The pelvis positioning or the hip structure as a whole. So how drawstrings affect body mechanics. In the Image Clothing Company's main side, that's a video of ours, we talk about the slipped lap knot, okay? I could just talk so deeply on this. I could mention anything in the entire body. This is at least the fourth time I've tried to film this video. The ears are huge, okay? Anything I could talk about in clothing, period, that alters any part of the body. The jaw is stabilizing the entire body, and it will be affected if anything's out of its natural positioning. The amount of emotion behind this is just unreal. I almost want to fold my arms. Like, if we alter the jaw, we alter the ears. If we alter the ears, we alter the jaw. We've got so many videos talking about the jaw, the mechanics of the human jaw. A video we have under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Workouts don't help the jaw. A video we have under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. I'll mention this one again. Eating and drinking with the left hand, really just meaning non-dominant. Okay, that will affect the jaw. That's under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. It's one of our videos. Okay, we talk about the jaw so much, so often. Okay, it is the ears. Like how I say the hands are the shoulders, or the feet are the hips, the jaw is the ears. What happens with the jaw is the exact same thing that will be happening with your ears. So, okay. Oversized clothing makes life hard. And I capitalized all the letters in the word hard. That's a video we have under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. There's only one neutral to everything in the body, okay? The natural scapula position. A video I made just a few days ago under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. The scapulas are the big bones on our upper back. There's one on each side. They have just a natural, neutral, normal position they sit in, okay? And they are the shoulders. Correlating that with oversized clothing, if our tops are too big, too large for us, pulling down on the neutral position of our shoulders, what I talked about a lot within that video, oversized clothing makes life hard, okay, all caps on the word hard, all capital letters. The same skin on the top of our head is the same skin on the tip of our toes and the tips of our fingers. The skin is an organ. But let's kind of shorten that distance from the tip of the head to the tips of the toes and talk about from the tip of the head to the shoulders. This is all the same skin, okay? And there's a lot of musculature on the skull, okay? Between the skin or the hair even that's in the skin with hair follicles and the actual bone of our scalp that's made up of a lot of little plates of bone, like the Earth's crust is made up of tectonic plates, okay? The skull is something that has a lot of motion with the musculature around it. As you can see, that's why I'm doing this. Raising our eyebrows, moving our ears, just moving all the skin of the scalp just by the musculature that's there. Okay, if you can see this, that's what I'm doing right now. And if our shoulders aren't in their neutral position, but they're pulled down on, so will be all the musculature and skin on the top of our head. Throughout our whole face, our jaw will be being pulled down on, okay? How clothing affects speaking. A video on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. I talk about how our jaw has to be in its, neutral position, like everything in the body. And that comes from clothing. Speaking is just a physical thing. There's this light natural suction the tongue has to the roof of the mouth at rest. And if our shoulders are being pulled down from clothing, or again, anything in the body at all altered, period, it'll travel up to the jaw and affect the positioning of the jaw, and the jaw is the ears, in a sense, okay? But this is the thing, is the ears are also just on the exterior of the head. And so when we talk about what it means to lean left, well, we need the right side of our body, the whole skin and musculature and the ear's cartilage on the right side of the head to be able to extend or just move, be free of motion to tilt our head left, right? Everything on the right side has to slightly elongate as the things on the left side shorten. And then the things on the left side will elongate as the things on the right side shorten. As we move our head back and forth, like we say, when you lean left, you rotate the right side internal and the left side external. When you lean right, you rotate the right side of the body external and the left side of the body internal. Okay, there's just two sides to the body. Everything has to kind of go together. And so if our ears are altered and they're not evenly altered, well, what's going to be the most inhibited in a right-handed world is the right side of the body. We talk about the importance of even pinky fingers, the importance of even elbow extension. We talk about the right forearm and the scar tissue that gets built up on the outside of that, the elbow, the wrist, and the pinky finger. The importance of even sternocleidomastoid insertions. We talk about the right side is the one that gets altered. And throughout the whole body, it's the right side, right? A discussion on the right Achilles tendon is a video we have under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. The importance of even Achilles tendon insertions. And those are on the heel of our feet, those tendons that connect our calf muscles on the rear of our lower legs to our feet on the rear. Yeah, they can get really altered by unevenness throughout the body, and that can travel up to the ears, yes. And everything in the body it does affect if it's altered, okay? It's all there. The whole body only can ever work activated as a whole. So, the importance of even lat insertions. The latissimus dorsi muscle that comes down from the upper arm bone on the rear of it, up here by where it connects to the shoulder, and then down the whole back, connecting to some of the lowest vertebrae of the spine, and then the crest of the pelvis or the hips on the rear of the body. There's one on each side. The importance of even lat insertions, okay, just the right-handed world is the point. The right side of the body gets so altered where it does. And what ends up happening is if we can't tilt our head evenly left as we can right, then the right side of the head won't be able to be elongating, because that's what needs to happen when we lean our head left. So a bound up sternocleidomastoid insertion, where we get an actual bone spur, excess bone mass building up there, excess material of just what's connecting the muscle to the skull bone, well, that's just more in the way, under the skin, under the musculature of the scalp. And so we can't have all the musculature and skin of the scalp elongate over something like an insertion of a muscle that's just oversized, or an ear cartilage and structure and workings that is just oversized. We can't lean our head left because that oversized, altered material of the body, whether it is cartilage, bone, tendon, musculature, just skin, it needs to be able to elongate like this, open up on the right side of our head to lean our head left. This is ridiculous in so many ways, in a crazy way, in a very good way because of how I'm discussing this. In all the ways, this video is amazing. This is what I'm saying. This is how we are in the Image Clothing Company. It's about the information. And so that's what'll happen, is the right side will be bound up more because we live in a right-handed world. If our jaw is just kind of off-center to the right because of the right-handed world, then we've just got this unnaturally shaped gap from our jaw just sitting off to the right, lower, more external on the whole right side of the body in this right-handed patterning, okay? The right ear cartilage, just from a right-handed patterning throughout the entire body because of the right-handed world alone, will be altered. Even if we never placed anything in our right ear or on our right ear, if we never wore glasses, the ear cartilage would still just be altered because of the rest of our body, the right side of it being altered if and where it is in a right-handed patterning. So you'll just look at people's ears, and you can look at the back of people when they're sitting down or when they're standing or walking in front of you. You'll see their ears, and it's almost every single case, people have different sized ears. And in almost every single case, the right ear will be, we could say, taller, okay, or lower. It's just grown excessively large and different than the left side, okay? That's our right-handed patterning in the right-handed world manifesting itself in the shape of our ears, okay? And you see this, and what you'll notice is in people who have a pretty good working body, people who really take care of their bodies, and you can tell distinctly without knowing much about their life, but you can just see that their body works well. Often you'll notice their right ear is actually higher at like the ear lobe, which is this base part of the ear. It's actually higher than their left one a lot of the time. And why that is because of what I'm saying here, is people who work on doing all they can to allow their body to work, or they're doing workouts maybe, right? But to try to take care of their body, and they're intentional about doing it more so than just the average population of people on the earth in the right-handed world, they notice this. They'll be doing things like workouts, for example, or like wearing clothing that fits them well, for example, right? When other people just aren't. Maybe they just don't know to be intentional about it, or they're just not as intentional about it. Either way, these people will notice they can't lean left as easily as right, or they can't just look over to the left as easy as they can right. And so they'll take their lower ear on their right side underneath the earlobe and they'll push it up. I've done that. And I didn't know that people would do this stuff until I found it in the Image Clothing Company. And I know all that I know out of In the Image Clothing Company's information out of personal experience. Trial and error, prayer and revelation. And then now I start noticing things, I'm really attuned, if you will. I can see patternings in people. I can understand what's going on mechanically in people's bodies just by a quick glance. I know where it's coming from, either in their lifestyle choices or just because of things outside of them, the right-handed world, or because of the clothing they're wearing, physically placed on their bodies. And I can see these things, and I notice when I'm saying here, people's ear height, and that people intentionally lift their right ear from the base of it, who are trying to get their bodies to be more centered. And I've done this, okay, and I've done it on both sides of my body to a degree, but the right side of the body is the big one, right? Choose the right. An episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, and one of the things I talked about in there, along with a lot of things around the gospel of Jesus Christ, is the right side of our bodies are just about the only side of the body we need to address when it comes to ridding, chronic patterning, and scar tissue, because of these reasons, the right-handed world. Okay, clothing patterns, products in life, our life choices, lifestyles, and just oversized clothing falling to our dominant side, being 85%, give or take, right-handed as human beings. So, yeah, our ear cartilage, it needs to be even. It needs to be even because we need to be able to lean our heads evenly left to right, because we need to be able to just be even in all senses left to right. There's a center line to the body. There's a center line to gravity. There's two ears. They're on either side of the body. This will go into things like, let's say you're walking, and just for the sake of hypothetical, wind is blowing just directly straight at you from the front. Wind catches in your ears, and we kind of turn our head sometimes to avoid it, or to hear around the wind, if you will. If our ear cartilage on one side of our bodies, and almost always, again, right, just the right-handed world, 85%, give or take, of human beings being right-handed, it will almost always be the right side where the cartilage and just ear structure and shape is bigger than the left side. And so, as any opinion you could have on this is as real as it gets. As the wind's blowing on us, let's say directly from in front of our face, it's catching unevenly in our uneven ears, right? Just picture wind catching in your ears, and it's loud, you hear it. So you try to avoid the sound, but also it's just kind of pulling on your body, legitimately. I call the body just a mechanical machine, but it's just a machine in all its operations. It's a sensory machine. I talk about sensory activation in the ways that I do, and I have quite a few times up until now under In the Image Clothing Company. And what we discuss with the anatomy of the human body, our sense of touch is in our ears as well. And not just our fingertips or our toes or our tongue, right? But it's in all of the skin of our bodies. And we notice this air blowing across our ears. And if it's different, then we'll kind of just move our head off to the right, because there's more sensory activation from just wind as one of the many things or anything that could be against our ears, more on the right side if our right ear cartilage is altered bigger than the left in the right-handed world. Just being right-handed as human beings, most all of us are. 85%, give or take. I think the big reason why I've come into this video the way that I have, and why it's slower, my pace of speaking, and my countenance is almost more gentle, if you will, than a lot of the other videos that I've made under In the Image Clothing Company up until today's date, is because I know this seems like something that might be silly. It might be an opinion, it sounds like it might be, right? It might sound like it's something that's only cosmetic, if you want your ears to look even. But that's why I say the phrase that I do, it's as real as it gets. And I think that's the reason, involuntarily, I came into this with this countenance, this specific video. And it's been strange. We've had a lot of noise and a lot of things happening around and through this video. But I want it to be so obviously clear. I don't have opinions on these things. I don't have something that I think we might benefit in some way from putting importance on. Like I say, don't believe me ever, but truth is truth. And if I'm discussing truth, take the truth within what I say, not my words as Evan Strong in any aspect of my life ever. And as the founder of InTheImageClothing Company, right? No, don't believe me. But that's why I discuss things as thoroughly as I do. I discuss things to a degree that there's no possible opinion. There's no possible dispute. And I know some things sound and seem crazy if you don't understand them. But there's no possible dispute after the thorough explanation that I've given in this video to there needing to be an importance of even ears. Do you see what I mean? And then where the alteration's coming from as well. The height of a gripped arch. I'm not going to say any more than that about it, but that's a video under the main site of InTheImageClothing Company. That'll give some context as well, going to the ears. Just any discrepancy at all. Just, the importance of even height shoulders. The right shoulder is almost always just lower than the left in human beings, and there's just two sides to the body. There's a center line, physical bones, and the musculature just connects to those. There's a center of gravity. This is a huge thing. A measuring tape, okay? Patterning in the hand. It's a video that I made under the main site of InTheImageClothing Company. I've shown my hands, how they've been different sizes from being within patterning. I've talked about how I was in deeper patterning than probably most people, before founding InTheImageClothing Company. And that's what I've had to do is get out of these patternings. And that's what I mean. I speak out of personal experience. We live in the same right-handed world. We wear the same clothing patterns. They're shipped across the entire earth nowadays in ways that never happened in the past. Products are just altering the body the same that they are to everybody. If they're altering the body, that's what I mean. We just discuss truth. We're the same things. We're human beings. We're on the same earth. We're designed by one God. We discuss him as he says that he is. That's what I say when I talk about what we do under InTheImageClothing Company podcast. 166 lengthy episodes is how many we have as of today's date of InTheImageClothing Company podcast. I just discuss life as it is. And don't believe me, but this is what I mean, is I speak on things that are crazy sounding. And maybe I'm just being crazy in times. Cool. But other times, and who's to say? That's what I mean. Truth is truth. Truth is undisputed. And the ear cartilage, the ear size and the ear structure, the ear shape, the need for the ears to be centered, even, and where that's coming from if they're imbalanced. We discuss it under InTheImageClothing Company. It's something we'll always put a lot of focus and importance on, because it's something that will always and always has, even before these modern things we place into our ears. Again, even just from the shoulders up, our ears can be altered. From our feet up, from our uneven sized hands up, our feet can be altered, because the hand is the shoulder, and if the shoulder will be altering the ear, well, the hand alters the shoulder, and then that alters the ear. The jaw and eating, this will always alter the ear if it's imbalanced. That's what I mean. Any of these things, if they're imbalanced. There's just a center line to the body. Clothing has to fit. Clothing truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. It's the only thing placed physically on us. It's pulling on our musculature out of its neutral position. It's imbalanced. Okay? These are if and where that is the case, those two things, right? It's just what it is. Clothing is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. Designed to work, as an episode of InTheImageClothing Company podcast. God designed our bodies to just work. We've got our own individualities in our very uniquely specific cases. Like the main things I say, right? Deformity, amputation, birth defect, certain things like this, major surgeries, sure. But the body, in its universal human design, designed in the image of God, Jesus the Christ, it's just designed to work on the earth. besides those very specific cases where things come up. And so in a modern 2025 and going forth, it will only get progressively worse, truly. Again, things that are just prophesied in God's word, in scripture. We discuss it on the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? On In the Image Clothing Company podcast, and just where we do our whole company, we're in the image of Jesus Christ Clothing Company, right? 5-word name as a whole. It's about the design of God. We didn't design it. We can't decide it. We can't decide to put things into our ears and be okay. We have to suffer the consequences from these things, but also we can't be held accountable for what we don't know. And if you just don't know that you're altering the cartilage of your ears, because I put things in my ears to listen to things through for years, like a whole decade, 10 years. And sometimes it was the majority of every day for parts of my life, right? And I wore oversized clothing, and I tied my shoes unevenly and drawstring knots unevenly, right? Rotating my whole body that does affect the ear cartilage. I did all these things. I'm speaking out of personal experience. I speak so bold sometimes, and I speak so harshly. I'm not condemning or talking down on others. I'm talking down on these things we do. I'm condemning the problems we have as human beings, right? But we're all just as human as anybody else. And you can never alter your body without severe consequences. There's only one way it could ever work. And the ears are huge. I couldn't even look left like this if my ear was too big and bound up to where I couldn't lean my head left, like I was discussing. It just is what it is. And then we've got things that are often only in one ear. That's a big thing, right? Because if you want to kind of have the effect of what you're placing in your ear be there, but then also be able to hear what's around you, then one ear can have something in it or on it, and the other one doesn't. And that happens often in modern day, and probably will be just very similar going forth. And then now you've just altered one ear over the other. You've taken your body out of its center line. One of your 5 senses is hearing. We navigate our life through sound in a lot of ways, those that can hear, right? He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Within God's word, right? Scriptures, the gospel of Jesus Christ. We talk about these things. So the importance of even ears. And like I said, just be careful, be gentle, go easy, do it just a little bit at a time, but you can adjust your own ears with your own fingers. It's your own body. It's a helicopter. I'll wait just for a second. I'll say this. Out of all the adjustment I've had to do in my own body, getting out of these chronic patternings and scar tissue just caused by all the things we discuss under In the Image Clothing Company, just living on the same earth as equal human beings, I don't know if I can say the biggest, but if not, then just about, and certainly one of the biggest things I've had to focus on personally as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, is the discrepancy, meaning difference, in ear cartilage size from left to right. And it's caused me so much pain, so much problems. A lot of it's come from dental work. Changes the position of the jaw, it'll change the shape, cartilage, skin, musculature, size, all the things going into the ear shape and structure. Okay, the jaw and the ear are the same thing. They are. They are. And the ways we discuss it, I give such deep context under when I say that, and I have in this video. Okay, that's what I'll say. That's where I'll leave this. The importance of even ears. Okay, a measuring tape can be your friend for your hands, for your ears, for just measuring distances of things like from the center line of your body out to your shoulder seams on either side, right? Tops are like a cage for the shoulders. It should lock our shoulders in place. Otherwise, if there's play, our jaw moves, then our ears move. And our whole body, right, we discuss it as we do under In the Image Clothing Company deeply. Blunt, bold, raw and real, or all the surrounding sounds, right? That's a big thing about the raw and real part of In the Image Clothing Company. we're just who we are, man, and the human body will never change, and it can only ever do what God designed it to. We have no say. That's actually another episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We have no say. And I've gotten after people, and rightfully so, for their benefit. No opinion of mine, the truth, right? The things I've discussed in this video. People in my own personal life, I have just told and told and told and told, since founding In the Image Clothing Company, since knowing all this, do not keep placing that thing in your ear. And I've yelled at these people in my life, specifically one person, because I care about them, because I have no opinion on it. It's just damaging their whole body. And because I've had the personal experience of all the pain that has come from me getting my ears to, well, the measurement, as weird as that might seem or sound, but truly, right, that I showed at the beginning of this video, to allow my body to work, to allow my shoulders to have natural rotations, to allow my feet to grip arches, to allow me to speak well and articulate my words well, to allow me to breathe well, and my rib cage to expand in 360 degrees naturally, right? Just meaning all the way around. Just to allow me to be a human being and be the way that God designed me to be. I've had to go through so much to unalter my altered ears. And so I've spoken it so bold to people in my life, and I will speak it so bold because I'm in this for life. As the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, I'm here to change the lives of both human beings and dogs. Our information applies to all dogs, besides things that are just very poodle specific, okay, under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. And this whole ear thing, man, it's a problem we didn't have to deal with to the degree that we do in modern day ever before now, because of our man-made products that go into and onto our ears. And then also stretch within clothing really pulls on the ears when our shoulders are in an incorrect location, because musculature is just not allowed to contract to its neutral when we move and the clothing moves, and it pulls on our whole body, and our ears get affected from everything, right? And so, as I say when I make these videos, there's so much more that I could say and include in these videos at the time that I make them, but I'm in this for life. I'm not joking. I'm not partially here. I'm the leader, the founder, the one overall, the final say of In the Image Clothing Company for my entire life. I label myself the founder, and that's what I'll always say, but I'll be the one hosting Poodle Parade events. I'll be the one behind all the, like I'm saying, final says of product design, anything we ever put out for human beings or dogs, whatever we do under In the Image Clothing Company. I'm the one that will be at all the events, even under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, the events we have and the ways that we do. I just want to make it clear, that's why I'm making these videos as of today's date. That's why they are how they are, and I'm not trying to make them in a professional way out of a worldly lens of what that means. I'm documenting since the very, very start. I've been saying the same things because since the very beginning, in other words, in the beginning, God was God. And we're designed in the image, right? Clothing company, our 5-word name as a whole, we're designed in the image of God. Our information is absolutely eternal if we're discussing truth. And truth is apart from all of us. The fact that we did not design our bodies and we cannot alter them, that's apart from all of us and applies to all of us. So the importance of even ears. Stick around for the poodles. It'll be so fun. I'm not joking about like I've been prompted as I've said in recent In the Image Clothing Company videos on any of the 4 sites that I've mentioned this in, and I've mentioned it on each of the 4 sites actually. Okay. How big In the Image Clothing Company poodles will always be. It's not just about puppies, but we will have them. You can fill out an application for a poodle puppy, purebred standard poodle from In the Image Clothing Company poodles, but our applications will be very strict on who the puppies go to, right? It's not just about events and having fun in nature, but it is that as well. Poodle Parade events. It's not just about good products, so your dogs don't get altered, but it is that as well. Okay, collars, leashes, harnesses, and whatever else we get into under In the Image Clothing Company's dog products. It's not just about keeping less dogs in shelters and more dogs at homes, but it is that through all the information we give. It's not just about keeping dogs healthy through all the ways that we talk about everything with dogs. It applies to all dogs except for the things that are very, very specifically only for poodles, like grooming and temperament, in the ways that it would be very specific to poodles. And really, even all that, there's so much in there that would apply to all dogs. I mean, there's a lot of dogs that you groom, just about the exact same that you'd groom a poodle. And, I just want to make it clear, and even regardless of what I want, God says, nah, say, and say how big In the Image Clothing Company poodles will be, because we're not doing a lot of what we will be doing quite yet. I don't personally have Nita yet, my first, right? The matriarch, the first poodle, standard size, purebred poodle, female, that will be the start of all that In the Image Clothing Company poodles will always be. And I don't even have her yet. And so before any of this happens, before any products come, before we're actually having events that I'm hosting, and our team is there, before we have our building, before everything happens here in the beautiful state of Utah, the United States of America, under In the Image Clothing Company, that's more than what we're actually doing as of today's date. I'm speaking on all of this that I am speaking on. I'm giving all this context. I'm discussing things as deeply as I am, so you know, and so that I know, and so that nobody has a question. This was our authentic information. This is where we started, and hey, guess what? Let's say it's 30, 40, 60, 80, 90 years down the road. We're saying the same things then as we were saying at the very founding, and vice versa, right? We're saying the same things at any time down the road, as I was saying, standing in these fields in 2024, 2025, going forth, right? Making these foundational videos of what and who we are and why we are In the Image Clothing Company, okay? It's allowing the body to work. It's letting dogs stay natural. It's making a lot of beautiful information with good insights on life. It's bringing people together. It's getting people back into nature through things like poodle parade events. It's lengthening dogs' lifespans through allowing the dogs to be unaltered, right? Letting dogs stay natural. It's giving people energy that's just natural by giving them information on why they've been deprived of energy, right? It's just everything. Eating, sleeping, standing, walking, sitting, breathing, hydration. It's we talk about everything. This is In the Image Clothing Company. And yes, we talk about the measurement of our ears, and no, not for the sake of cosmetics only. Although, yes, that would come along as well. You have visually centered ears if your ears are physically, measurement-wise centered as well. But it's about the mechanics and functionality of God's design, the human body, the only thing that we have, the only thing we're actually promised in this life, and things that will always be affecting human beings if we're not staying centered and intentional. And really, it's just, if you don't know, you don't know, and that's not your fault. But that's why In the Image Clothing Company is here, is to give deep insights, deep discussions, thorough discussions, so there's no questioning on what we're saying or why. And there's no dispute as to if our information is valid and matters, because you have your own body. Truth is truth. It's not my opinion. We have opinions where we do, but we try all we can to keep all of our opinions out of all that we do under In the Image Clothing Company, okay? We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos as of today's date, and we will always do so much under the gift of video, filming puppies being born when the litters come, filming just so much free information, filming our events, filming Utah and all that we do for this state, for the environment here, and the owners of dogs here, for the dogs here, for human beings and their lives. And this applies to everybody across the entire earth, but we're stationed here and staying in Utah as a company forever. Okay, In the Image Clothing Company, this is where we are, man. This is where I am in this, is what I'm discussing, okay? So stick around if you'd like, stop back in if you'd like. The poodles, man. You'll see. I'm not here to prove points, but I'm here to show that things can line up, that we can know things before they happen, because God reveals things to us personally when we're trying to do all that we can in our sinful ways, because we're sinful by nature, but to follow His will, to do all that we can to serve Him. He does work and move and cause things to happen in our lives for his sake. And we're doing this whole company in his name, which is, right? That's a big thing. It's a tall order, if you will. In the Image Clothing Company. Okay, so stick around. I know that a lot of people are misunderstanding as to what we are as of today's date. Those that do know what In the Image Clothing Company is at all, I don't think they really know. Well, I know that they don't know the fullness of it. And even myself, I just know the amount that I know in the time. I know when I'm prompted to do something, and sometimes it's a lot. Like this video, it took so much to actually get this video made, and now it is the way that it is. And like I say, and like we do, right? We talk on things, we speak on things that are eternal. So this video could apply to everybody across the earth for literally ever, and I would never have to make a single video again to like redo it or revise it on the importance of even ear cartilage, even ears. Even if we leave the word cartilage out of it, it's all that goes into the ears, and really it's just the entire body, right? It really is just our main slogan under In the Image Clothing Company's main site, allowing the body to work. That only comes by keeping it centered, keeping it unaltered, and getting back to God's design. It's not our choice. There's nothing we can add or do to our bodies that'll be better than just allowing them to work. There's times and places for things, but it's the 13th of October, 2025, and my name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, in this for life. You know, my own physical body is a testament to what we do. As the founder, God had me start doing certain things at a certain time, and he's had adjustments happen to and through me in certain times to where, documented under what I call the gift of video, you can see since the very founding of In the Image Clothing Company and then up until current day of whenever, just what's happening and has happened in my own physical body because of the truth that we discuss under In the Image Clothing Company. Okay, so I'll be here for life. Thank you.